Now take a look at developments from the chambers. The 6th session of the Children's Parliament took place from the 15th to the 19th of July in Windhoek, bringing together 62 high school learners from all 14 regions of Namibia. This year marks 17 years since its inception, and young MPs discuss pressing issues under the theme Transforming Education in Namibia. They weighed their experiences and highlighted several motions that stood out for them, aimed at addressing the challenges faced by their communities and suggests solutions.
So I am the Deputy Chairperson for ICT and Education, and I believe that the week has actually been very beautiful ever since we came here today. It's been very wonderful because we're actually learning a lot of things that we never knew, like how to articulate ourselves much more better. Based on the implementation of AI, I believe that as the education system that we currently have in Namibia, I believe that we need to advance to a certain level so that we're able to meet up with the demands of the other countries, right? Because currently in the current status quo, we see that a lot of schools are still teaching the same way that they used to teach back in the olden days, right? I believe that we need to move to a point where teachers are able to now teach on smart boards, where teachers are actually able to where each learner in a class actually now has a tablet, right? So I advocate for one of those things because I believe that the only way that we're going to achieve those things is these things are actually being implemented in schools, right? Because it's going to make the learning process much more easier and the teaching process for the teachers easier as well. Currently, I'm still not sure on what I will be exactly doing, but I believe that one of my main focuses is actually going to be me addressing the current problems that we're suffering at our school, which is to deal with like the hair problems that we have and how the school actually conducts and how the school actually treats the learners. So I believe that those are very one of the important things I want to talk about, and I also want to advocate on like the empowering the younger people and actually having to empower the youth, because I believe that our youth currently is actually very misled and we actually don't know our full potential because we're just being pulled back to we're being pulled by this world things like things like drinking, like going out, and I believe that those are one of the things that I really want to stop and make the youth understand that they do belong and they can do it, and everyone always has a platform. You just need to create this platform for yourself, and I believe that those are one of the things that I really want to speak on, which is basically empowerment and having to talk about the challenges that the youth is facing.
So for the past week, ever since we came Friday, it has been interesting. The induction was quite interesting, and educational, but what I picked up and what stood out most for me was the things that we advocated for. Obviously coming from the Hattab region, I just thought that specific problems are faced in my region, and that my region is the only one that goes through problems. Just to come here and know the problems we face is inclusive of the entire Namibian child, and that we need to definitely find many ways to cater for these Namibian children. When it comes to the motions table, there is no specific motion that I disagreed with, but there were definitely ones that I agreed with more than the other. But the ones that stood out for me was the digital literacy, right? When you talk about Namibia keeping up to the technological advancement that are happening, we are the same leaders that say that we need to go out into the world and create a name for ourselves. So we need to not just say it, but implement it in a way. Hence, things that didn't really stand out for me was the fact that we were tabling pressing issues, things that were not pressing at this current moment, but I actually appreciated them as we are preemptively preparing to cater for issues that we will also face within the future. So I would not really say there are motions I didn't really agree with. It's just that I supported some more than the others. Youth activism, youth awareness, there is nothing more that makes the youth perish more than lack of knowledge. Like for example, just on TikTok, I saw that when they were posting these videos, that they were posting that the parliament did not make it inclusive for the entire Namibian. Well, I will ask that I hear know that even the marginalized communities were catered for, 4 per region from all the 40 regions were catered for. So what makes the youth go away, according to my personal perspective, is the fact that they are not aware of what's going on. So first, I will be a youth activist, meaning that whatever I do, I need to make them aware, because it doesn't help me implementing things, but they are not still aware of what goes on internally. So yeah, awareness will be one of the things I'll cater to.
I would say what the week it has been, from smiles to laughter to a bit of stress here and there, but I could definitely say it was worth the week. It was worth the stay, and it was worth whatever we went through. The outcomes were very positive and very encouraging, seeing that we have all 14 regions on board. Number one, promoting equality. Number two, I would like to thank each and everyone that's here that tabled motions that are on pressing motions. It's just not about anything that they feel like should be implemented. For example, there's a motion that has been implemented that has to cater for the AS level, and that was one of the most topics that stood out, and I would say it was definitely a positive outcome. They always say that leadership only doesn't happen when you're sitting in the office, it also happens outside. And I read a quote one day that says, when you get something from the government, you should be willing to give it back to the community. Now, when you speak about giving back to the community, we speak about the Namibian child and who we can cater for. It's with great concern that we always can't cater for everyone, even that 1%. You always can't do it to 100%. But I, as a Namibian child or as a six-member parliamentarian, I promise to carry out initiatives, for example, mental health awareness, seeing that this is one of the things that most teenagers suffer. This is one thing that I will cater for. And secondly, the exchange programs within schools, within the sector, for them just to get a little bit friendly and for them to share knowledge on the educational system so that our passing rate at least increases over due time.
The sessions have been great and information has been spread all like wildfire. I find it quite educational to find the opinions and to hear the opinions of my fellow honorable members. I also love the motions that were passed, especially the motions that were regarding children's rights in war-torn regions, to children's rights when it came to abuse and rape, and all the way to children's rights when it came to their educational rights. What I took was definitely the discipline that I got from these sessions. I also got the fact that we needed to listen to everybody the same way we speak about our opinions. We should listen to them equally and find a conclusion that fits both parties.
The accommodation, I love it, their food and everything, and also the way we spoke to each other, we had respect and so on. The government should strengthen the security amongst the Kavango River border where children are being raped by Angolan civilians that do not have identification. Imagine Elena being, or let me say a child being raped by an Angolian, and that Angolian swims back to their country, and then that child, nobody doesn't know their father because the father does not have a Namibian ID. Even though the child is born, the child will not get a birth certificate because the father is not present. I will host an assembly and tell my fellow learners that this and this happened here, and then from there I will talk to my focal person to prepare for me to go speak to my governor. And especially in our region, there was no rain at all. That I'm going to tell the government that people should get equal distribution of drought relief food, and that food should be distributed this way and that way, because there's a lot of chaos. When somebody gets food today, they are still going back tomorrow. And I'll also host a cleanup campaign and also community service to the old age people.
So what I've experienced this week, this past week, is that this was a great inclusivity for each and every Namibian child, and we thank the government so much for allowing we, the young broad minds, to be able to bring a say into the decision making. We believe that now each and every child goes back to their houses. I believe that now they are nurtured to be much more good citizens, and I believe that they will take part in their civil rights, and everybody will contribute into a well-enforced economy. I believe that everybody has gained the knowledge on how decision-making processes work, and everything shall be in order now, as they say that we are the leaders of tomorrow. But we were just informed that currently we are the leaders of today, so it changes everything. That means the way we conduct ourselves now must change, the way we move, the way we act, and what we say. And even when it comes to education, that means we should also lead them by an example. We must lead that the young youth may see that, of course, they are represented by people who really care for their needs and their demands. There were so many good motions placed there today and yesterday, and one of the motions I pick up is the motion of inclusivity of the marginalized communities. Oh, I forgot to say that I'm the chairperson of the Standing Committee of the Marginalized Empowerment, Gender Equality and Social Welfare. And I love this motion because this motion broadens up everybody's mind to allow those people to be included in also our decision-making processes. So yeah, this was a wonderful experience. The accommodation was well, the atmosphere was really blessed. Some of the things I wish to address is the inclusivity, as I've said previously, the inclusivity. First, when it comes to inclusivity, first education, health. Health is a matter, because so many complaints have been raised by my fellow honorables about the health lacking in the marginalized communities. They have told me that people have to wait for long lines and they have to walk for long distances to get medical aid or something like that. And even though they go to the hospital, they hear that there's no medication, and then they have to walk back again. These are some of the things that I know that I'm really young, but I believe that I have a voice that can be heard by the nation, and I believe that I can leave a change. In this 2-year course, I will try my level best to make sure that these people are included in everything and that the government must pay attention to them the same way that the government pays attention to us that live in the urban areas.
The motions that stood out to me that I was passionate about are two: a catering for disabled movement, whereby they should renovate buildings and schools so that it makes the life of disabled people more easier, and the gender equality and equity with a specific emphasis on the neglect of the boy child, because those are the major pressing issues which even the President of the Republic of Namibia himself stated that Namibia is facing itself. So if the President of the Republic of Namibia states a problem, it seems that as if we have to adhere to it, considering we are the voice of the Children's Parliament. Well, one of the motions was an emphasis on bullying, so I think I'm going to go there and create a group or a campaign which advocates for the awareness of bullying, what it can lead to and how it can be stopped. And considering the fact that there are many boys at my school, I feel like I can also go there and act as a voice of empowerment and upliftment to make sure to know that their voices are heard, that not only the females are heard, but their needs are also going to be catered for and adhered to. Currently, I'm working on a movement together with the speaker to go in the marginalized areas to make sure that their voices are heard as well. We're going to, as well as grab the members of the Children's Parliament, specific members, to go. We conduct a campaign, maybe a 6-day camp, in order for their voices to be heard, their concerns to be heard. Because as you heard in the Children's Parliament, only 6 people from the marginalized area attended, and most of their problems were almost on the same thing, how they have scarcity of water, how they are not being heard. So I think we need to adhere to them because these are the main people that are not actually being heard. And considering the fact that there's more children in the marginalized area which are not being focused on, we need to adhere to their issues and concerns.
And let me tell you, the moment I was chosen, the tears were flowing. So I could really say that it was an emotional moment, but also a moment I proved to myself that like with determination and like with the qualities you have, persuading people not only in the good, but also like making them see that you can be a leader, and also having the trust that these parliamentarians put in me to elect me as a speaker was really a great opportunity for me, and I feel very honored as well. Yeah, the motions were discussed, some were rejected, some were adopted, but I think one that stood out to me the most was the one on the emergency calling of suicide, violence against children in general, because I feel very strongly when it comes to child safety, as well as when it comes to children being able to speak out about what's happening to them. Because as previously stated in the chambers, it not only is mentally, but it is also physically, and physically it happens a lot. We hear about rape cases increasing, as well as children being beaten, be it fathers, be it uncles. So yeah, moving forward, I would really like to see a change, maybe more restricting or stricter rules placed in measures so we can actually combat this, because if we do not take a stand and if we do not take that one small step, we will not be able to stop what's happening currently. So moving on to what I would like to do in my community is like I've seen a lot of children, homeless children begging for food and money, and I would really like to see them going to school. It is very essential for us to have education, because if we do not have the basic literacy and numeracy, we cannot progress or become the people we want to be. Because me as a child, I have a vision. Even my younger siblings have visions and dreams. So who are we to deprive their child sitting on the side of the road begging for money to deprive them of education? So I would really like to see our regional directors, it's just the whole of Hartap, maybe working together to actually get those children into the education sector, because once they have that education, they can actually build on their future. But not We do understand, however, that circumstances do not always allow that. So we would like to go look at some circumstances, maybe parents are unable to work due to some disabilities or something, but we would like to cater in any way we can actually help, so we can actually make a difference. Because starting from today, or starting Sunday, Saturday even, the moment we came here, the induction ceremony, we all heard about we need to make a change. We need to be the change we want to see. And as previously stated and mentioned before, we are the leaders of today and not tomorrow. So I think that is what we should take into consideration when it comes to changing, as well as specifically our mindsets of the youth. So we created a group to actually get these learners together. Yeah, there are some learners who do not have numbers, but we will make sure to keep in contact with the vocals. It is essentially crucial for those members that are actually near each each other, to have that communication link within themselves, not only because we want us to stay together, but because if we stand together, because they say united we rise and we succeed. So meaning that we would really like to see those neighboring regions maybe just come together one day or maybe a few days in a month or so, just to actually educate and also communicate with each other on certain problems and see where they can actually make a difference. And